Hello, my name is Admiral Rachel Levine, and I have the honor of being the Assistant Secretary for Health at the United States Department of Health and Human Services. Happy Pride. Happy Pride Month, and actually, let's declare it a summer of pride. Happy Summer of Pride.
Hey folks, happy Pride Month for some of us. See, Pride Month is over. The official Pride Month of June is over, and it has been an absolutely lovely, beautiful, fantastic disaster. So I wanted to take a look at this, and I'll make a modest proposal at the end of this video about where we should go from here on Pride issues. And we'll talk a little bit about it. But before we do, we of course need to start at the very beginning. And the very beginning is maybe somewhere where a lot of people didn't want to be. But let's take a look at it. Anheuser-Busch had lost $27 billion before we even entered Pride Month. We all know all about the controversy surrounding Dylan Mulvaney and that complete mess. It was very, 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 very bad for Budweiser, but very good for everyone else. It set the stage this month for the disaster that we call Pride. We saw people who were paying more attention to it than they ever have. And because of that, it created a ripple effect that made this the best Pride Month ever, where we were all happy and gay by the end of the month. Bud Light, they tried to put out a new ad and say, hey, what do you guys think of this? Are we doing better? We're fine. Like, look, we're focusing on other things. Maybe you guys cut us a little bit of slack. People said, no, we're not actually going to do that. You're needing to apologize for this stupid thing you did and using a trans influencer to give them more attention, to give you more attention when you know that trans influencer is not only a freak, but a freak with a young audience. It's on TikTok, and you guys try to play there. Not a great idea. Well, later on, they would come to maybe distance themselves finally towards the end of Pride Month. And they would distance themselves by saying, well, I'm not saying we would work with them again, but we want to listen to our customers, and we want to say, okay, we are hearing what you have to say and what you want from us, which I remind you, as I did at the beginning of this entire controversy, what we want from them is for them to shut up and be a beer. See, that's all that's requested of them. I want to be able to drink 18 of them at the lake and not die. That's what I'm looking for in my light beers. I'm not looking for anything else. Definitely not looking for a social message. But they tried to give one. People said no thanks. And to thank them for what they did for Dylan Mulvaney's now attacking them, saying they've ghosted him. And he is not happy about that. So no good deed goes unpunished. You can never be woke enough, all that other great stuff. Go woke, go broke. That's the other one that we could go with here probably. But it's not just Bud Light. There are plenty of other corporate entities that are having problems as well. Google trying to make nice with their employees, but some of their employees are saying, hey, we're not too happy with the fact that you are holding a drag show and sponsoring it with someone named Peaches Christ. Yes, that's right. You're mocking Christians again. Learn your lesson. The Los Angeles Dodgers, they did what they did, and we saw what happened with them. But the beauty of Pride Month was, after Anheuser-Busch had their issues, all these companies kind of struggled to figure out what they were going to do. Even woke companies like Google were trying to figure out what they were going to do. Yuengling, they found themselves in the middle of a controversy that was somewhat similar. That controversy was they were apparently sponsoring an all-access drag show. And they came out immediately and said, no, we're sponsoring the venue for a music festival. They're holding this event there. We have nothing to do with this. We distance ourselves from this. We want no part in this. And they answered the question correctly and said, no, we don't support this. But they had to, in a way they probably never would have had to before, because of what happened with Budweiser, what happened with Anheuser-Busch, with Bud Light. And it's the best Pride Month ever, because now these companies, for lack of a better way to put it, are scared. NHL teams, MLB teams basically said stop wearing pride jerseys. They changed their logos. They stopped all the chaos and nonsense that they were creating because it was creating more problems for absolutely no reason. And I understood what people wanted out of this. They wanted these companies to say, we support you. Why? I don't know. But they wanted them to say that. They wanted to cram it down the throat of their fans. Their fans wanted no part of this. They wanted hockey. They wanted baseball. And now, after years of this nonsense, NHL, MLB saying, enough. This is too divisive. This is stupid. We want to get back to hockey. We don't want any part of this. Good. That's absolutely fantastic. And it was happening everywhere. Companies were scaling back because their employees wanted no part of it, and their customers wanted no part of it, and the corporate media started to notice, and they started cataloging this sort of in the way that they used to catalog things in order to give their activists a target list to go after and hit these people. Doesn't work anymore because it's the best Pride Month ever, and the rules have changed. So, while corporations are scaling back and they're calling these people out, it doesn't matter because sanity has returned. Enough of this stuff. Stop trying to cram this down our throats. Then you had different states coming out and saying, hey, we're not going to do this anymore. In the classroom. Yes, it all started with Florida, but there have been plenty of other places that are doing it as well. You can see it here, Louisiana, California, all this stuff. You're hearing a lot of people have a problem with their individual school systems doing these things. Some school systems would come out and say, hey, we want to affirm our support for the LGBTQ community. And parents would say, no, thank you. We'd like to keep this out of our schools. You remember the fight that happened there in California? That's what the one here with California is referencing. And you are seeing parents and teachers now finally having the guts to speak up and say enough. Iowa, Louisiana, it's happening everywhere because parents are speaking up and saying enough is enough. So thank Governor Ron DeSantis for that. That's where it all started. The anti-gay, don't say gay legislation was all garbage, but it's spreading across the country. And we should be absolutely happy about this. We have other states that are getting ready to pass laws or have worked on passing laws. Now, some courts have come in here and said, no, you can't do this. But that's going to go before the Supreme Court. And I think we're going to find that the Supreme Court is going to lean heavily on allowing the states to do what they want. North Carolina, they're working on it. Other states as well doing the whole thing. Like I said, Louisiana a little bit earlier are working on theirs as well. Part of this legislation they're talking about is the ban on transition care and all this other stuff. You are seeing states saying we're not going to do this. And the Supreme Court is leaning towards these states saying you can't do this. You've got to leave these people alone. And they are also telling the states that are saying you can do this, attack these people, and saying they can't do that either. So people are regaining their sanity. It's important to note that. People are regaining their sanity, and we should be in favor. The Supreme Court ruling has a lot of people worried about future LGBTQ setbacks. And by the way, what are the setbacks? Drag shows can't be around kids, you can't transition kids, and you can't talk to kids in school. Those are setbacks to these people, which is a little bit of a tell if you ask me. You don't have to be a groomer, but maybe you're groomer adjacent. That's a possibility here. So these setbacks, boo-hoo. One of them will be you can make someone make a website for you if they don't want to. That's what they've lost the ability to do. Okay, the baking of cakes, we're still on that thing. Leave the kids alone, leave other people alone, and people will generally let you live your life. Now, all of this is a little snapshot of what's happened this month. And leads us to the last thing I want to talk about. You saw the video at the beginning of this. Rachel Levine, which is really a dude, is saying, hey, this should be the summer of Pride. We should continue to push for Pride all summer long. I agree. This Pride Month has been fantastic. So let's agree to let Pride Month go on for yet another month and sit here and celebrate it the same way by dealing these people who want to talk to your kids about this, who want to force businesses to do things, who want to control your government, who want to do these things, deal them setback after setback after setback, and then we celebrate Pride Month for an entire summer. I agree with the guy who is in charge of the Health and Human Services for the United States of America, the Babylon Bee Man of the Year. They want a summer. Let's give them a summer, and it will be bad for them and good for everyone else. Happy Pride, everyone. I know June's over, but let's make July just as great.